when I was growing up, and through a lot of Good Council's history, you basically had 3 sports here. You had baseball in the spring, you had football in the fall, and basketball in the winter. When I was growing up and went to high school with Abraham Lincoln and myself, there was no such thing as soccer. Nobody played soccer. And who ever heard of lacrosse, except for some weird teams out in the West who were copying the Indians. So the fact of the matter is those things now have become, actually lacrosse, that's not true, I'm lying to you. Lacrosse was a sport played only in the exclusive little preppy schools in the Northeast. And then it came down into the regular thing that everybody does. So when we talk about soccer, you notice we're talking in the 90s and so forth. That's when they became popular. We have to go back here. I missed something. How did they say something? No. Oh, let's talk about these. Okay. When you graduate, it doesn't mean much to you right today, but it does mean something to the graduates. When you graduate, one of the last things that's done at graduation, after everybody gets their diploma and so forth, is we give out awards. And these are the most prestigious awards a Good Counsel student can get. We give one for service, one for academic excellence, and so forth. But the most prestigious award anybody gets, and it's the only award that the faculty and administration have nothing to do with, is called the Brother Mark Award. And the Brother Mark Award is given to the student who has given most of him or herself to make Good Counsel a better place. They are sort of Mr. or Miss or Mr. Good Counsel. And the way they get that award is the seniors, and only the seniors, vote on their own classmate. Now, why is that important? Because by the time you are seniors, you may already know this, but by the time you're seniors, you're going to know everybody. And you're going to know who is that person, that one person in our class, who really does so much for the school. They haven't voted on it yet, but I'm going to write it down and tell you, you can see if I'm right. I already know who's going to get it this year. So here's the fact. It's named the Brother Mark Award. And if you come down here quickly, we'll come back. Can you see that counselor? You see that Counselor magazine cover at the bottom? The one on the right, the little black and white, that's Brother Mark. And Brother Mark was the first principal of Good Counsel High School. He was the one whose vision became a reality. He was the brother in the Xaverian orders who wanted. By the way, 1,001 useless facts. The Xaverian brothers did not want to build this school. This was an afterthought. We are the last school they built in 1958. And actually, there was very, very strong opposition to building the school amongst the brothers. They said we didn't need another school. We have Mount St. Joe's in Baltimore. They had at the time Riken. It wasn't St. Mary's Riken, but Riken down in southern Maryland. Brother Mark was the force. He was the one who persuaded, and it took a couple of years for him to do it, persuaded. He said, I am convinced if we build this school, it's going to be a great school. He was right. They were wrong. And for all that reason, and also because he was the first principal, the highest award in the school is called the Brother Mark Award. If you get at graduation an award for academic excellence, where essentially you're the best student in that class, you will get what is called the Brother Bonaventure Award. Brother Bonaventure is on the same counselor, bottom right. He was the principal who hired me back in 1974. He's still alive. As a matter of fact, occasionally, he's not going to look like that. He's very old. He occasionally drops into the school. He'll come to the cafeteria, you see him in the main office, and I think he's got to be in his late 80s. He was a principal for 11 years, right here, Brother Bonaventure Scully, 1970, 1980, 10 years. And then he went from here to Notre Dame.
To study? To teach?
Worked at Notre Dame
to work, wow.
for a number of years. And then he retired, and now he's still alive as well. Then, if you were, for years, this is something I'm very proud of, for years we gave the Service Award. We called it for Outstanding Service, and it was the Service Award for those who who do outstanding service for the school and community, particularly like community service. This man in this council on the left, Brother Greg Turlick, was a friend of mine. He died young. He was sick, and he died too young, way too young. Brother Greg came to the school and was asked to come here to start a service program. And actually, he and I together, we had 10 hours for seniors only. That's how the service program was started. He was such an outstanding example of somebody who served. He was as comfortable in the classroom as he was serving sandwiches to the poor downtown. He lived the life of service. So our service award is named after Brother Greg Turlick, Service Award. What I'm proud of is when Mr. Bates was principal before, he received right here from 1997 to 2002, he was principal. Towards the end of when he was principal, when we moved to the school, I went in to see Mr. Bates, who I've known for 37 years, and said, it's about time we call that service award what it's supposed to be, which is the Brother Greg Turlick Award. As I said, he well deserves it. So these people, when we give awards, they mean something. They have a history at Good Counsel. They're just not names we make up. They belong to somebody. Let's move back here. Oh, by the way, who wants that for a swim cap? Huh? How fast? Now, friend of yours, the ladies who first came here, so it'd be 88. Yeah. Okay. Look at this picture. Hello, Mr. Peckrell. Notice this picture here. That is the picture of the classroom of the first females at Our Lady of Good Counsel High School. Now, what you may not know is, now you walk into a class, there's about half males, half females, right? No big deal, okay? At Good Counsel, when we first went co-ed, we didn't accept 400 girls. We accepted like about 30. There were only a small number. We were going to integrate the class slowly. And those girls were chosen almost to a person. They all came from Holy Cross. No freshmen came in that first year. They were only upperclassmen. And we wanted girls who could put up with hundreds of guys. These women, I taught these women. They were fantastic. So, very proud of them. Pardon me? Yes, this is, yes, good pointing. This is the Georgia Avenue, then you have Good Counsel High School. You see the hoops in the front? That's the main entrance. The building on the right, and then parallel to it was the classroom building down there. This does not show, yes it does, over there to the left is the Rafferty Center, which was torn down. Then you had the two fields, and if you notice those houses in the back of the street, that was the end of the property. That's where Mr. Clancy got thrown over. Okay, so you can get some idea of that. Why don't we move